Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today. On today's video, I'm going to be installing a Radium engineering oil catch can onto my GR Corolla. So I'll go through the entire process here, try to show you guys the ins and outs of it, and so you can do it yourself. And if you like these kind of videos and stuff, I sure would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Please comment on things. I love to get comments, and I try to answer everybody's comments. And we will go ahead and get started. I'll go through the parts and everything. I do have the drain kit also for this, so which is an option. You don't have to do it, but I decided to go ahead and install that one also. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started on the install. So this is everything that is in the box. So we have our oil catch can. We have several fittings. We have the mount, a couple of hose clamps, a couple of nuts to mount it to the bolts in the engine bay. And then this is for the drain valve kit on the bottom here of the oil catch can. So that is optional if you want to mount that or not. But these are the parts. So it comes with some hose and an optional drain valve. So this piece right here goes into it, and then the valve can be run so you can get to it easily from underneath the car. So we'll go ahead and get started. I did pull off the engine cover already. So the first thing we have to do is attach this straight piece into this port right here. So need to put a little bit of oil and lubricate that O-ring there. Just get a little bit of oil on your finger and run that around there. I'm not sure what size this is, so we'll just use a crescent. Now I'm sure this doesn't have to be cranked to oblivion, but just snug it down, get it seated right where it's going to mount. And you can see the top one, they're both normally come painted, and they want you to run a die over the threads. So I did the bottom one already. There's my die. It is I'll show you here. Where the size go? There it is. So it's a 6x1, M6x1 die, and just run it over the threads just to clear the threads out, and you can see the difference. So I'll go ahead and do the top one now before we proceed. So the next step is to mount the bracket to the bolts that we just cleared the threads with these two nuts right there. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that real quick. Brackets in. Well, I ran into a little problem. My kit did not have the 4 screws to go from the bracket into the catch can to hold this into place. So I need to run down to the hardware store and get some screws. So a little pause in the action here, guys, while I go and do that. So I did go to the store and pick up some screws, and I even picked up a couple extra. So the next thing to do is to mount this to the bracket that I just did, but I am doing the optional drain from this. You don't have to do that. You can reach in and unscrew this and do it from there. But because of the position and location of this oil catch can, I figured that it was going to be a lot easier to go ahead and do the drain, the remote drain. So with that kit, it comes with this piece of hose and comes with a barb to go in the bottom of it here and a valve. So, and the idea is to run the hose down to a place where you can easily access it and flip the switch while you're doing an oil change and then drain this out. So I thought this would be a metric size, but 4 was too small and 4.5 and 5 were too big. So I found a 3/16 Allen fit it. So I'll take this off. The O-ring right here. So make a good positive seal. So then they give you quite a bit here. There's about at least 3 feet here. So more than enough. So I figure what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a length to where I think the where the valve will sit down, and I can easily reach it. And then I'm going to leave the rest of the hose curled up there until I can get underneath the car, and I'll tie strap it so it doesn't flop around to a place where I can easily reach it. So the barb holds it just fine. So there's that. Attach the screws to this. So I know I need to remove the dipstick here to be able to screw this thing in after I get these screws in. So I'm just going to remove that now. So now go ahead and find the right size Allen wrench for these little buggers here. There we go. Couple of turns on this sucker. Oh. There we go. Voila. Okay. At least it's in position now. So now I can get the other screws in. I do recommend putting some medium strength thread locker on it. There is the catch can, all mounted, all 4 screws attached. You can see the port on the back of it. That one goes over to this input right here, or to this tube right here. So, and then the one on the top gets routed over to here. So the next step is to attach this fitting to the top of the catch can.
you want to put some oil around the O-ring, and it actually uses a 6mm Allen wrench, because on the top of it, that's what fits in there, and that's how you tighten it. So you don't spin the whole thing, you just tighten it using that. So I'll put some oil on the O-ring and we'll screw it in. Get it started by spinning it. This next step is taking off this hose right here in the middle, and it goes around, and you can see a little clamp right down in there. It's just squeezing that. Oh, that's a better view of it. Squeezing that clamp right there, pulling that hose off, and then this one here, this more serious clamp on this side, and popping that hose off. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this hose in the middle here, and we're going to route this piece of it over to the catch can on the bottom there, and then use the supplied hose that they gave us to run from the top of the catch can back over. There it goes. Sweet. Okay. Now, see about twisting this one here. At least this one's more. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Sweet. One hose. Now we got to cut it. So once you get the hose off, you're going to kind of look at it like this. And you're going to cut it at approximately this point right here. So right about there is what it shows. So I'm going to go ahead and take my blade here and let's cut this hose. There we go. Nice clean cut. So now this is going to go from the back side of the engine where the turbo inlet is here. This is where that simple clamp is. And what we're going to do is we're going to attach one of these 45s into this, and this will clip on. This is a quick disconnect onto the back side of the oil catch can. So you need to put a little bit of oil around that O-ring there. Okay, once that's lubed up, so this is going to kind of sit like this, as this is kind of laying flat. So let's go ahead and work that. Oops, I put that on, but I forgot about my clamp. Reused at this point. So, once again, we'll go ahead and slide this on. There you go, get it orientated like it needs to be. So something like that. They did stress that these need to be, you got to make sure these are not kinked in any way. This is going to sit in the pipe on the back like this, and this is going to go into the catch can like this. So I twisted this a little bit just to get it at the right angle. So kind of eyeball that. So that's what you want to do. You want to hear that click. Get this up and push this back down over. Pipe. So for the upper hose, they supply a piece of hose. They supply 2 OEM style clamps, so excellent clamps, and then another quick disconnect for the oil catch can. So one of these will go onto here, same way as we did the other one, and then this will kind of route this up through to the PCV valve, kind of in a S pattern, and you just want to make sure this doesn't kink. So very important that it doesn't kink. So we want to go ahead and slide this side through since it doesn't have the clamp on it. There we go. There we go. Heard the click. So that's what you want. So, okay. And then allowing this is when you really wish this was kind of a molded hose, because this turn is tight, so I can see how see that wants to kink there. This is where I'm at. The hose is coming here and it needs to go here, and this is a really sharp bend here, and I am having a hard time getting the hose to not kink right here. So I don't know how much you can see, but that hose is kinking right there, and I don't know if that's too much, if that's going to affect it negatively, because they point out to make sure it doesn't do that. So the OEM hose is molded, so you can see how that bends around nicely and goes around there. So I had a couple of ideas. I went down and I found this thing at the hardware store, hoping to maybe see if it would allow that to make that bend a little better, but it was still kinking inside of this bend on that. So what I found is this plastic barb, and I've used these before on my PCB oil can oil catch can installations, so I thought that I would try that. So I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this hose right back here, and that way I can use the OEM hose like that, and then just splice those two right there and see how that works. Figure it's worth a try. I can always get more hose like this if I had to. So we're gonna give that a shot. So I'm gonna lay this out. I'm gonna cut this. We'll put this in between the two, just like that. Let's see how that works. Okay, so I've got the connector into this hose. And so now I'm just going to slide this onto it. And then let's go ahead. You're seeing how my position is for it. So yeah. So what I want to do is go ahead and move the clamp back here on it, and then it'll fit right into the little catch, and it'll give the engine enough room to slide back and forth. I'm not even sure if I actually had to put the clamps on because they were triple barbed on both sides. So, but I did it just kind of as a precautionary thing. So heck, if I didn't have them on there, you'd hardly know that that was there. So, but at least this piece is formed in the angle. So I'm much happier with that. Catch can's all mounted back there. You can see the two hoses go into it. The bottom one loops over and goes down into the bottom right there. At the top, that little outlet goes into the turbo inlet. And then the top hose attaches there. That's the one that runs over and behind and then comes out right there. Use the barb fitting and then right back into the PCV. So we are set. The only thing I still have to do is I need to go down underneath the car and figure out a position and how I want to attach the drain hose. So I do still need to do that. But at least it is completed. So hope that helps you guys out. And I hope this little trick that I did is useful for others that were having kinks. I know that was a thing I heard other people talking about, were kinks in that upper hose. And if that thing kinks, it's going to give you problems. It's not going to breathe right, and you're going to get a check engine light. So that should solve that issue, but we shall see. And if I have any problems with it, we'll have to try and do something different. But right now, I feel pretty comfortable with what I've done, and we'll have to get under, adjust the hose, and strap that drain hose down, and then give it a run. So thanks for joining me, guys. Any questions, comments, anything that you can think of you'd like to ask me, please holler. And I do try to get back to everybody. And please like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the good stuff. Help me grow my channel. I do appreciate everything. That's why I try to get back to everybody. And I do these to help everybody else out so they can do their own work and enjoy their cars. And until next time, guys, we'll see you down the road.